Hi there! Happy Thursday! Since I have done canvases last time, I thought I'd go for watercolor papers this week just to show you what I use. And I do have a very limited stock of papers that I use for watercolor just because I am very picky when it comes to what kind of paper I'm going to buy. And I'm using quite a bit. So my stash is not as big as it used to be. So let's start with the first one. This one is one of my favorites. It's mold made watercolor paper rough, and it has 20 sheets, and it is 8 by 10.5 centimeters, which is 3.2 by 4.1 inches. So this is just the greatest size, because I can paint something here and later on put it on a greeting card I could use it on some cardboard to make a greeting card. It's the perfect size to, well, make a nice painting on a card or something. So I use that quite a bit there. Also, this is a rough paper, so I like to use it for paintings that are, let's say, revolving around nature. So I like to use this for paintings like flowers or trees or animals or something like that that look quite blurry, maybe macros of whatever object I'm painting. And I don't like to go in too much detail and shading too much and whatnot on if I paint on that size. It should be like a photograph with the object being out of focus. So very blurry, only maybe a hint of what I'm actually trying to paint there. I really like it for these kind of things. Also, if I do any details, I used to use permanent markers to help along, or maybe ink. I'm not doing them with watercolors on these tiny papers if it is a rough paper, because the structure pretty much it transports the painting. So it would look weird if I had the greatest and most well-defined thing, maybe, I don't know, a car or a lamp or whatnot, and have this rough structure underneath. I think it's just weird, and it's not as appealing to the eye. I think this kind of paper with this size is more for the natural things. But I like it a lot, and it's quite a bit in use, as you can already see. It's like totally wobbly because, yeah, I'm taking it everywhere pretty much. Also, I can, I just forgot, the papers are glued on both sides, so I don't need to tape one of these pieces down on a board or something. I can pretty much paint right on the pad, and it won't go wobbly. It's, by the way, I forgot, 200 grams per square meter. This one, so it's the lightest paper that I have. This one here is 220 grams per square meter, also has 20 sheets of paper, and it's 24 by 32 centimeters, and it does not say what's that in inches. No, it doesn't. And it's also acid-free rough paper, but if I remember correctly, no, also glued on both sides, so I could use I could paint right on the pad. I don't have to glue it down. And it's a little less rough than this one here. So this is very rough, and this is a bit more on the soft scale, though pretty structured. I hope you can see that. So I like to use that for, well, more sketches or more like studies of something. I'm not really using that for whole paintings where I go like all the way, filling the paper with color all the way through. I don't know why I do that, but I think it's just because even though this is glued on both sides, the water makes the paper wobbly a bit. You can try to smooth it afterwards and it works pretty much 80% of the time, but I do have paintings that wobbled anyways. So I'm not, especially if I went with water on these parts like on the borders. If I just go in through the middle and have a study of something, that's working way better with the watercolor and having the paper not buckle and wobble afterwards. Other than that, this is not the premium company that I usually use. I use Hanemühle a lot, and this one is Charlottehammer, and I don't know. Well, I've never heard of the company before, so this is pretty much I would say this is good quality, but not best quality paper. However, I like to use this pad a lot if it comes to mixed media art, where I go with ink or only have ink with watercolors combined, and maybe paint more on the dry part and not having the paper watered all the way. I like to use this one more than the other big one I'm going to talk about in a second. So this is not a waste of money and paper in my studio. This is just, I'm just not using it for a lot for what it's supposed to be used for. I'm using it more for inks, where I use way less water to make something blurry or soft in the background than with watercolors. So the last one that I do have, and this is my all-time favorite, also Hanemühle fine art paper. This one is acid-free, age-resistant, natural white rough with 250 grams per square meter or 120 pounds. And it also has 20 sheets. Oh, it's the same size as the other one, 24 by 32, but this one says 9.4 by 12.6 inches. So this is my most favorite big watercolor paper pad. And this one is glued on all 4 sides. So it's pretty much impossible to have this one buckle. Also, it's a bit rougher than the 220 paper. And it's more on, it's closer to this one here with the feel, the touch to it. And it pretty much behaves the same way. So you can go with a lot of water on this one and it won't buckle. And I use it a lot for, well, again, nature scenes, flowers, anything pretty much that I do want to paint in watercolors. And that's in on itself more on the nature stuff. I go for inks way more if I want to go for industrial things or cartoons or something like that. So this one is my favorite for watercolors. And I use it frequently. I try to not do mixed media on this one because it's quite expensive, that pad, and I do have the other one for that. So I could use mixed media on the 220 gram pad, and I try to use only this one for it, and this one goes for the real watercolor paintings. Again, I'm not having very many different kinds of papers. You can see it's only 3 of them. But I do like to use those, and only those, for inks and for watercolors. And with ink, I'm using ink on way more other surfaces as well. But I sometimes like to use ink instead of watercolor to make something very blurry, washed backgrounds, whatnot. So I'm using watercolor paper for that, of course, as well. And that's pretty much it when it comes to watercolors. I try to not have every company in my studio. I try to only buy what I really need and what I use, and not just to have something look pretty or have my stash of papers just be bigger. I'm not that kind of a person anyways, and especially not a painter. I'm more on the parts where I use up things first, and then I allow myself to buy something new. That way I also am not procrastinating when it comes to artwork, and I am not feeling overwhelmed with the supplies I do have at hand. It's I know how to use my tools. I'm not scared by them or overwhelmed. And I like that I don't hoard anything because it's just way too expensive, way too pretty to use, something like that. So that's why I'm only keeping small amounts of papers and tools in my studio. And that also goes for the watercolor paper. So that's that. Enough of the ramble. I thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, any other company that does watercolor paper where you say this is a must-have or a must-try, let me know in the comment section below. And I will at least give it a go and see if there's something that I did not think of or that I used to work around. Otherwise, I'm going to see you on Thursday, on Saturday with a new taco clock, but tomorrow I do have a painting for you first, so check out what's coming up on my channel. Subscribe if you haven't, so you'll get noticed whenever I publish a new video. And again, thanks again for watching, like, share, as always, and have a very good one. Goodbye!